Hello everyone, this is Koda giving you a shoutcast in a game between Liquid TLO versus Trickster here on Shattered Temple, and true to their word, MLG after patch 140 was released, I believe they started releasing more and more of the replays out there. So MLG Anaheim and the one MLG after that, I believe the replays are finally up. But then again, I am looking and waiting to cast 1.4.0 games, but they just haven't been made public yet. Now, TLO spawning as the red Terran player here at the 3 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Trickster spawning as the blue Protoss at the 12 o'clock position. Terran versus Protoss, and we'll see what's going to go down in this particular matchup. Now, if you guys haven't done so already, Blizzard just released studies and numbers behind just basically the racial balances and the racial matchups. And currently, to no surprise to many of you, Terran is currently having a pretty significant lead. Not an overwhelming lead, but a pretty nice lead in most of the GM and Masters ladders. I believe it's Protoss has a little bit less of a chance, and then Terran versus Terran is obviously 50-50, so no real point in trying to look at that. Anyways, let's talk about this game here and not talk about racial balance, as apparently that's what the comment section is for, where people will write Terran is Imba or Protoss is Imba, and really not give any real reason or look into the numbers behind it at all. Now, I will say that Terran has a slight advantage right now, but it's not really an Imba scenario. Imba scenario, I believe, after talking with David and some of the balance people, anything that has more than a 10% advantage to another race, then it gets into a little bit of an issue. SCV now wandering around on the inside as well, will spot pretty much a standard opening. The second pylon back over there. A cybernetics core should be added right here in just a moment. There it is, as the gateway should be training up a zealot. Trickster may be trying to go for this early zealot pressure, but he may decide not to, as TLO is going for at least one marine, training up a second one as well. This probe's scouting days are pretty much numbered, as the probe wants to be very careful. Its shields are naturally recharging once more, but quickly now taking some actual true damage. That probe trying to back away, and I think it will just end up getting destroyed. Oh, TLO has a second marine and able to take down that scouting probe there. Now TLO is going into a factory now, and we'll see what this factory does. He has lowered the supply depot. He is not going for a second refinery just quite yet. So this shows me that he's perhaps going to be going into very low tech play. I cannot imagine a starport being built right behind this. Perhaps some Hellions, maybe a Hellion drop with a medevac if he does try to build that starport as an SCV. Now wandering across the map, looking for proxy pylons, making sure to not come across the center and reveal himself. Trickster is now looking around for perhaps a scouting SCV as well. You can see currently Trickster sitting on about 200 or 400 resources. He may be going into a Stargate. He does have this double assimilator play currently, and with the double assimilator off of one base, he's training up stalkers and not training up sentries. And now, to confuse me even further, gonna decide to go into a double gateway build. So it's gonna be a three gateways gonna be built, and we'll see if he starts training up some of those sentries at all. Twilight Council will be added, and now my head is completely upside down in trying to figure out what the opponent is trying to do. TLO now on the move out with this one Hellion and looking for a proxy pylon. It looks like a proxy pylon may be set up by this probe in just a moment. And if Dark Templars are in the near future, that may be a serious issue, as a probe now going to run across the center and perhaps try to warp in a proxy pylon here to get in some Dark Templars. The Hellion already doing that scouting already, and now Trickster also going into a robotics facility. So really unorthodox build so far. He may be trying to do a blink straight up into this location here, but he's going to first have to deal with a marine drop. The marines do not have stim though, so a stimless drop coming in as TLO is training up a lot of marines and marauder units. Hellion now trying to put pressure on the front door as marines are coming in along the backside. A bunker is being built along the back, and now in come the marines. The marines going to get some damage onto the stalkers as well as the Hellions are at the front door. So marines are going to try to push back. The medevac trying to get a little bit of space, as well as the Hellions pushing in. So Hellions and Marines pushing in right now. It looks as though a blink will be completed in just a moment, as the Hellions are looking to get even more damage, perhaps across multiple probes. A very nice mineral-based attack here by TLO, completely catching Trickster off guard. Stalkers are now being built as well. There is one bunker in play, and that bunker will be able to get some damage onto this robotics facility. So this may be a bit of an issue. It's going to be very difficult to really deal with this. And now as the bunker is fighting back against some of those Stalkers, the Stalkers are being very careful to pack off at just the right moment. And now that bunker has been destroyed, but some workers were killed there. 8 workers now lost. As you can see, 28 harvesters compared to 22, and we'll see what TLO tries to follow this up with. TLO did deal a decent amount of damage, but it's not really enough to secure victory as of yet. An observer will come in, take a look around. Another Marine now being trained up as well as a second tech lab, and we may be going into that double barrack or triple barracks, one with a reactor, as well as the Viking now taking some damage and now fighting up onto that high ground. Trickster getting some easy damage, destroying that bunker and an SCV as well. SCV is being brought over, and this may be a bit of an overreaction, but Trickster does have blink, so he has to be very careful here. Make sure that he denies his opponent any real way to get any true damage. Otherwise, if Trickster now comes in, 2 observers both are going to be destroyed, and down they go. And now Trickster will not be able to blink up, already training up with a replacement observer, as now Hellions going to be going into the main base. The Hellions look to deal a little bit of damage. As you can see, a fresh medevac back over here. The Hellions may be able to get even more kills, but no, the Stalker's able to blink back home, and the medevac very, very smartly decides to retreat. Now, both players have yet to set up an expansion. We are going into triple tech lab play, stim pack, and concussive shell being researched. Very important, as Marauders are very, very effective against those Stalkers. But at some point, Trickster may go into Immortals. Immortals very strong against those Marauders, as Immortals deal 50 damage a pop, and will have a range of 6 in just a little bit. Already having a range of 6, but haven't seen any high-level replays showing or showcasing that just quite yet. Trickster now looking to set up an expansion over here at the 9 o'clock location. And now, one observer may be able to escape. It doesn't look like it. The Viking able to take it down. And 3 quick shots taking down that observer there. As Trickster really needs to figure out what his long-term goal is. He either needs to defend a little bit and try to expand, or he needs to be aggressive with his one base. The problem is TLO is also not expanding at this time. TLO also supply blocked 83 over 83, and he's still not building the supply depot. Spoke too soon. TLO now getting that supply depot, but it may be a little bit late, as there is an observer hanging along the ledge here. Marauders do have stim. Concussive shell has been completed. The Stalkers may just blink up straight up onto that high ground, and that is going to be bad news for TLO. The tech labs are going to get destroyed, as now one barracks already down. Another barracks going to get taken down as well. As you can see, a medevac going to join in on this, and this is going to become a base race, folks. A base race here. Zealots, doing a nice pickup and drop off once more. Sentries trying to get down those force fields, but not really able to do very much at all. Stalkers have retreated back, as the Marauders are straight up on that high ground and going to be able to get even easy damage onto those Marauders there, as the Stalkers now focusing down one of those medevacs, and you can see the Marauders, the Marines, even some SCVs joining in on this fight, trying to push this army of Stalkers back, as Trickster a little bit on the ropes now. He was able to put a lot of pressure down, but now being forced to run all the way home. Probes are now trying to engage there. I don't see any Hellions in this group, so the probes are going to absorb a lot of damage, but Trickster losing a lot of workers at this stage, and this cannot be good news at all. The medevacs are being very smart to pull back, try to be in a better position, as one Marauder, another medevac sniped down after a blink. 4 Marauders here. You can see another tech lab now being rebuilt. You can see 5, a total of 6 Marauders going to be used to try to fend off these 8 Stalkers, and the Marauders are going to have their work cut out for them, as they're not going to have blink. Their blink will be on cooldown once it just try to blink up that ramp. There is that observer. The observer will get destroyed. Down it goes. So the Observer unable to offer any additional sight. Now we are 14 minutes into this game. No one has no one has set up their natural expansion yet. TLO will be upgrading to an orbital command and then lifting off in just a little while longer. But what can Trickster really do? Hellion now destroying a single probe there as the Stalkers move to take control of that center Zelnaga tower. Army compositions surprisingly even in terms of army, but the harvester count and the food count telling a completely different story. 40 harvesters compared to 19. TLO really needs to capitalize on the amount of destructions he's already caused. Now, it looks like the Stalkers are going to be able to finish off this one Hellion here. The Hellion trying to run away and does get destroyed by that Stalker. Long distance attack as a fresh pylon now being warped in as well. This pylon will be able to warp in units straight up onto that high ground. An Observer already there, lying in wait. The command center getting ready to have some SCVs transferred over. Now doing a bit of long distance mining as those SCVs don't have an orbital command to return to just quite yet. TLO does have 20 SCVs already mining over here at the natural expansion. And as soon as it can land, it will in fact land. And now TLO does have to defend even more locations. But Dark Templars now running in on the inside. Trickster just doing a lot of damage now to those SCVs. Raven coming over and able to spot it there. TLO being smart, getting up a second Raven as well in order to make sure that that one Dark Templar, or those... Not the Dark Templars do not deal more damage after the Stalkers try to focus down those Ravens. Ravens, a very, very expensive unit that is pretty fragile and very easy for Stalkers with Blink to snipe. After the Stalkers blink within range, all they need, this group of Stalkers would need 2 rounds of attack to destroy a Raven, and then all of those Dark Templars would pretty much have their way with the remaining units on the ground. The Raven does not have enough energy for a point defense drone just quite yet. There is a sentry here, and the sentry may become a problem. The sentry will be able to force field and perhaps split up the army. As we can see, there is one Dark Templar. A quick scanner sweep does reveal it and destroy it, keeping a Raven over here as well, as a Dark Templar is now going to try to engage. This one Marauder going to be able to finish it off, trying to split the defense there and taking down another Dark Templar. TLO still does not know about this pylon here, otherwise he would destroy it. The Observer once again going to try to rinse and repeat that strategy, warping in a Dark Templar and then hoping to get some economic damage in. Harvester count 35 compared to 27. A slightly larger army for TLO, but he cannot get too fancy with these Marauders. Otherwise, he may lose them to the Immortals, Zealots, and that Sentry that would be able to just warp or block any sign of retreat. One Tech Lab is going to get destroyed. You can see Vikings, Stalkers blinking and then blinking into another group as TLO getting a bit lucky there. And it looks like one Stalker will be able to retreat and return home. This TLO does spot this pylon, but still for some reason has not destroyed it. TLO now making moves, regathering his army, and it looks like it will be another push. Trickster, on the other hand, has two Immortals, no Colossi, and that is going to be very difficult for Trickster. Trickster's still behind in terms of food. This pylon has been destroyed. The armies are going to pass each other in the middle of the field as now the Stalkers are going to blink, and hardened shields able to absorb a lot of the damage from those Marauders and minimizing the amount of damage there. But in comes some auto turrets as well. So one auto turret in this group, and all we need now is 1 to 2 point defense drones, and this Marauder Marine army will be very difficult to stop. Mainly Marauders over Marines right now, but as more Marines get added, it's going to cause a bit of a problem as a Dark Templar once again coming in. Trickster having a lot of worker kills, 23 worker kills. This one Dark Templar running to hide, but there is in fact nowhere to hide as those Ravens are still on the move looking. We can see currently 2 Marines and an SCV making its way out. You can see 1 Marauder and a Medevac getting caught up in the front, and I'm not sure if Trickster will be able to fend off this next attack. He does have some Dark Templars, but he has no real way of dealing true splash damage. Morphing those Dark Templars into Archons may be the better option at this point, as the Dark Templar now being forced to pull back. Auto turrets now being dropped in, in order to force an engagement, as those auto turrets are going to be able to deal a decent amount of damage. Auto turrets firing relatively quickly, dealing more damage, and essentially a stationary marine that is very difficult to destroy with superior range. Immortal back over here. It looks like those Ravens are not going to drop any point defense drones, currently out of energy, and Trickster without a leg to stand on. And going to lose game 1 in this series. Yes, there it is. There's the GG coming in from Trickster. TLO taking game 1 here on Shattered Temple.